how to build what you built. The ideal scenario is, a hacker with some knowledge of MCP, watching your presentation, would learn the core bottlenecks that you resolved today in your project, would be able to build whatever it is that you built. And hopefully together, we can co-create a little society that knows a thing or two about MCP that no one else knows, that has revealed secrets that we can teach one another. And ideally, these are discovered secrets that can be sort of sent out into the world. And with that, there is a 5-minute limit per presentation. If you'd like to take a question, I'll give you a signal at 4 minutes so you can stop and take questions. But we have so many projects that it's essential to respect the 5-minute boundary. So I will be quite aggressive about that boundary. Is there any crazy request? Is anyone doing something that requires audience participation or that requires preemptive setup? If yes, let me know. We are all about creative ideas. Everyone needs to break out in song or something for your MCP. Things can be arranged. Okay. And with that, the final countdown has ended. From Nikita and Gautam, the future of your calendar connections. Google Calendar connection in real life with Omi. Let's hear it for Smart Sync Calendar. Woo! Okay, project started. Please dead silence while someone's presenting. If you really want to talk, go all the way downstairs and have your conversation. But until then, social time is over. Demo time is here. Thanks.
Hello guys, so I'm Nikita, my partner is sadly not here, and we decided to tackle issue 1980 of Omi, which was based about connecting Google Calendar with the Omi. So what did we build? So we extract Google Calendar data from our users and feed it into Omi AI for deeper insights. The AI then analyzes patterns and time allocation and like ChatGPT interpreting context. This will help our users because what is the most important thing we have in our lives? Health, money, it's time. You could get as much money as you want, get as much health as you want. However, once you're out of time, you're out of it. And what are our current capabilities? It can identify trends, it can optimize time management, and it provides scheduling insights for our valuable clients. Rescheduling and scheduling takes up a lot of time of our days, and why can AI do it? And it has a lot of future potential, make it more streamlined. Now let's see the code that we built and the pull request. So this is just importing a lot of the stuff we'll need later. And first we talk to Google Calendar and we get the user data and storing credentials. And, is it working? Well, later we get the data. And the things we analyze from the Google Calendar, we get a summary of whatever the event is, the time, the place, any information, and we feed it into Omi AI so our users can easily know when they're available. And so what's the impact of this? Users can easily schedule, they can know if they have to meet with a client, they can know when they want to meet, they can find 1 hour time gaps in their schedules. And let's see some examples. So imagine Alex's schedule is connected to our Omi AI, and he can just ask Omi, when's my next 2 hour block this week, instead of searching through his calendar. And Omi will automatically say that his next 2-hour window is Thursday, 3 to 5 p.m. And he could later just put this in his calendar. Or imagine he has a big presentation coming up and he needs time to prepare. He can just summarize his meetings that he will have because of the info from his Google Calendar. And because Omi knows so much about him, he could tell him when to prep because of the context that it has beforehand. And it could tell him that he should start prepping at Wednesday at 2 p.m. Thank you.
Is it possible to do a live demo?
I don't think so because the pull request, we have to get it approved, and that would take a while.
I see.
Thank you.
Okay. So because of a schedule diff, we're going to move the EXA projects up to the top. So it looks like there are a few EXA projects from Akshay on Trademark Treasure and from Vikrant, Bob the MCP Builder. Is it okay? Trademark Treasure, are you here and aware of the situation? Are you down to present next?
We'd rather wait a little bit.
Okay. Does right after the next presenter work for you?
Sure.
Okay. And a similar story, Vikrant, we're going to bump you up. But in that case, the second project is Kelvin's pop toggle. What if human is MCP? Let's hear it for Calvin.
Hi everybody, I'm Kelvin. Like a lot of you, I learned about MCPs yesterday, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not sure really how these things work or what to build, but I thought to myself, you have a chatbot like Claude, you can go out to other services and get information, but what if human is MCP, right? Claude can get information from you. So I built this thing. It's a desktop app that masquerades as a MCP server. And when Claude wants something, it can actually present you a new window that's a user interface, bespoke for whatever you're doing. You can interact with it, and then it will update the state of the conversation live. So I'll give you just a recorded video demo of how this works. Okay, so I'm talking to Claude here. I'm saying, okay, show me a user interface with 2 color pickers, right? And this is not something you could usually talk to Claude about colors, right? So it's gonna go ahead and generate the user interface live. You can see here, it's doing this with a React component. And it's a very long React component. Eventually, it's going to trigger the MCP, and you get a user interface. So here we go. I'm going to edit 2 of these colors, like this. And this could be any user interface. It could be like, an RPG character sheet. It could be a dashboard for a calculator, whatever. Just anything that you want to do, right? And then based on the colors that I've entered into the color picker, I'm like, generate me a logo, right? And so Claude's going to go ahead and generate a logo based on the colors from this user interface that was popped up live. Right? And it's going to do that right now. You can see here, it generated this weird circle, this green-gray circle thing here, right? Okay. But then, the user interface is still here, so you can be like, oh, I guess I'll change the colors. I want different colors, right? Or, whatever's in there. And then you can immediately go back to Claude and be like, hey, actually, update the logo, right? So I'm going to put that here, use the new colors, and Claude is going to see the information that was still present in the user interface and generate a new logo. And there it goes. And you can see here, it's not happy with it, it's going to keep going. But eventually, it's going to generate the same logo, but with the new colors from the user interface. that's it. That's Polygon. Do you have any questions? No questions. Thank you.
Very nice. Haven't you want to know whether or not your brand name is trademarked? Maybe Exa can tell you. Let's hear it for Trademark Treasure by Akshay, Brandon, and Luke. Okay.
Okay, has anyone here ever come up with a cool name for a product or a service? Name the coolest product or service you've come up with. And have you trademarked it? That's pretty cool. This is the audience participation phase. Has anyone ever had an issue with the name they came up with? That someone else maybe had the same name? Raise your hand. OpenAI had the same situation. There's a couple of people who think they had that name first. So it wouldn't be your problem, or you wouldn't be the only one. So our vision was that Omni would take a user input, the voice of what people would say, and then the conversations that you would have with your friends, and help you do the trademark clearance by searching the internet for the names of other products and services. At first, Akshay was on the back end. He basically did the MCP server, but
Yep, so we are running the MCP server, and it does try to interact with different kind of models. We try to also integrate with Grok and I think Sentry AI. But only thing that worked was XAI, so we're just trying to go into demo that for you. So basically our query is nothing but the way they have defined it on their website. We want to know what type of particular name of a company or a name that we want to have a brand. So we just give a search and then we return the names which we find are registered trademarks or are in similarly registered somewhere across the US. So we also try to give you the URL, the title, and the response is quite small right now because we have specified it that way, and the visualization breaks if we increase that. Basically, Postman has a bug there. If you try to improve query, and then do a search. Here you will see duplicate responses because those trademarks are registered across US and other nearby locations as per the result that have come. Pretty much that's it. If you would like to go over the code, I can do that, but hand it over to you.
Yeah, so I work on the front end on the mobile app with Flutter. But today it took a long time to run the app. I got some issue, but I fixed. So, but we haven't got time to connect the backend with the front end app yet. But we plan to continue the project. Yeah, and so wait to update our app.
Thank you.
It's just an AGI. Oh. MCP Builder. Okay. Possible to return users or something?
It's a possibility for a live demo. Check a trademark.
unfortunately not.
Okay. Up next, from a URL, what if we built out an MCP server? It was to end-to-end. Let's hear it for Vikrant's Bob, the MCP Builder.
Yeah, I know. I'm really good with names. I should probably trademark it, right? So, yeah. So, before I tell you why you should be throwing money at me, or what am I building, or what is it, or how is it built, let me explain why building MCP servers, as you probably know by now, is a very time-consuming process. So it's not about, hey, at the rate of server.tool, do XYZ. It's the XYZ part, like what you want an agent to do on your website or on your application, the MCP layer specifically. And also writing the best practices, like, hey, I can write down descriptions, but is it the best way to write down the description? Or the tool names, maintaining it, etc., etc. So basically, to summarize, manual creation of good MCP requires significant time investment, because you're probably building a production level API, but for AI agents. But ironically enough, it's quite straightforward, right? It's just an index.ts file and Docker file and a couple of the files, and it's only the index.ts file that you're changing. So if you have a front end and a back end, you probably have a skeleton for your MCP. I'll explain what I mean by that and why you don't have to recreate your entire MCP layer, but yeah. So simply, you don't need to learn another framework for doing stuff that you're already doing. I'll explain again. All you need is a public HTTP URL like ycombinator.com or something like that. So how, right? How am I building an entire MCP layer with just the URL? What I'm doing is, you get an entry point, you go inside that entry point, you take the code and the content. Code, I mean, is the HTML layer, using Exa. Exa does both. Strong product, you should use it. It gets the interactive elements, so basically like forms, buttons, all these things, and then it finds the relevant text and basically summarizes these workflows, right? And then it creates a breadcrumb layer, like if you click a button, you go to the next step, you click a button, it goes to the next step. It creates this workflow, like if you go into the Y Combinator, the big red orange button is probably where you should click. Once you click that, it's like, hey, he came from this to this. So what is the intent of the user on going forward, applying to YC? That's what we're doing. So yeah. Demo.
Nice.
Demo.
Hell yeah.
Demo. There we go. Oh yeah, I forgot. This is going to take a while. I should have run this before. I'll explain what's going on, but basically all this stuff is what's happening is it goes onto Y Combinator, clicks on apply, goes inside, see what happens over there, analyzes the primary interactions and the secondary interactions. Primary interaction is like apply to YC. Secondary interactions is like sign up for reminders, stuff like that. So once it analyzes all that stuff, it builds out this MCP server over here. Once you click on it, it goes like index.ts. All the other things are quite literally hard-coded because you don't need to rebuild that stuff. All you need is the index.ts file. That's what's built on the fly. So if you look at over here, right, it says YC application initiator. So what does it mean? I think it goes on to the apply and then goes on to the form and then tries to figure out what's happening. So let's go what's happening here. So yeah, it creates the playwright code for actually doing that stuff because I haven't gone to the network layer and done that stuff, but playwright code works. So basically apply. I don't, sometimes it hallucinates, but we'll figure that out. Yeah, so yeah, let's see if it figured out. Nope, oh shit, never mind. Never mind, we go back. So yeah, so just to nail it down on what we're doing, he's a developer with a big smile on his face who didn't know about MCP, and then he started deep diving into MCP, and then the docs just confused him. So he wants to create an MCP server for himself. That's the goal. But he felt lonely and hurt because it's just difficult to go through all that MCP docs while you're building a business on the side, right? So then Marco discovered Bob, the builder. He went onto the website, put in the URL, and magically he has the MCP server built out for him. Look at that smile, like, you know, putting smiles on people's faces. So next steps, right? One-click deploy. Smithery did a really good job if you have an MCP server, deploying it and then getting it to distribution. So what I want to do is just like npm run deploy of sorts, where I handle all the like going onto Smithery, deploying it and everything done. So testing. It's really easy to test these MCP servers because they're quite literally server.tool do something. So if it did it, good. If it didn't do it, fail. So yeah, I'm probably looking to open source this, so please start and contribute. The next thing is resources, prompts, and routes. So MCP is not just tools, but resources, prompts, routes. There's just a lot more to MCP than just tools. So adding all these things into this and network layer visibility. Basically, I'm not going into browser base and getting the network tab, so I should do that. So what's the catch? It hallucinates. Just sometimes, but hey, at the least minimum, we have the best practice, right? Yeah, like I tell my LLMs, even if you forget everything I said until now, the simplest takeaway is this project can build out entire MCP from your public URL. Thank you. Any questions? Great.
So you're saying that the entire web can be positive?
Exactly.
Congratulations. Okay, yeah, huge props to Vikram for the intended live demo. In general, if you can live demo, that is ideal. So do continue to be ambitious. Okay, up next, MCP server for the Ansible Tower. This is an Energy Scheme reference. Let's hear it from Madhavan.
Okay. I guess I can start then. So, yeah, as you guys can see, I built to introduce myself first. My name is Madhavan. I'm the founding engineer at Forge, where we automate DevOps. And today I built an MCP server for Ansible Tower. And for those of you who don't know what Ansible Tower is, it's basically infrastructure management for enterprises. So a bunch of boring DevOps stuff, basically. And what we are going to do with this MCP server is instead of humans having to do all the boring DevOps stuff, now the LLMs can do it. So I tried the server out with Claude, and I can do a quick live demo here. I connected it to Claude Desktop. And it's a basic Ansible Tower task that a human might need to do. And Claude is going to go through and do it. I could sit here and we could go through all of it, but I did it before. You guys can take my word for it. It works. So if you use Ansible Tower, highly recommend you guys check out the MCP server. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And one last thing here, side note, is at Forge, we did recently just raise our seed round. So if anybody's interested in the intersection between DevOps and AI, feel free to reach out afterwards, and we might have a founding engineer role open. Yeah,
Okay,
any questions?
So basically, like, Ansible will let you find all your servers that are basically running out of space and do an operation on them.
Sure, yeah, exactly. That's one use case, and there are a bunch of different use cases you can have.
Is there any crowd requests we can ask for?
Different action, go for it. Yeah, let's
So
go.
what is Ansible capable of that we could ask for?
It's a lot of like configuration management. So wait, let me exact here. It's a lot of configuration management. So you could do something like create a playbook that does XYZ on a certain VM. I'm not sure how many people here are like super familiar with DevOps, but if anybody has a request, I can.
Does anyone have a DevOps request? Can you create load balancers?
No. That's not what Ansible Tower is for.
Yeah, we'll give you an example of something that you'd be able to do.
Okay. I could be like create a playbook for a VM configured with, we can just say some software, and let's see if Claude will put some arbitrary software on there. Software. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, I think it's just going to create it, but let's see if it accesses the tool to actually apply it to using the server. Okay. Come on, Claude.
You can't stop
I could, but yeah, actually, it's not. Let's see what it does here. Yeah. Let's see if I can stop again. Okay, go for it, Claude. You can do this.
Yeah, but this is real, right? It's not real.
Let's go. Turning the server. Boom. Allow. Keep going. Keep going. You got this. Yes. Yes. Nice. But yeah, another issue that we're like trying to resolve, and there are like a bunch of different ways you can go about this and building the AI architecture underneath. But there are a bunch of different tools and a bunch of different capabilities that Ansible Tower has, like in their REST API. So we need a way to give an LLM all these tools without it being overloaded and confused on what to do. So we could do like there are a bunch of different things out there, like swarm architecture. But yeah, and there are things to experiment with. But as of right now, it's just Claude on its own, and it's doing pretty good. So. It does run into some issues, as you guys can see here.
It's really tenacious.
Yeah. It's got persistence.
Man, the authentication.
Yeah. If Claude had a YOLO mode, it'd be nice. Cool. Yeah.
So it's taking the context.
We need to make sure project's finished. Thank you. Okay, project sync failed. Love to see it. Yeah, and like you said, it is like tenacious in the sense that if something doesn't work, it tries a different method and tries a different method. So DevOps engineers, watch out. That's all I can say. Let's go. Come on, Claude. Great. Excellent. Let's go. Successful. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Any questions?
Yeah, any questions from the set? So yeah, I guess a lot of the problems you hit, I hit too, but Claude does not always call the server, for example. It's really basic.
Yeah.
Actually, how do you configure your MCP to make sure that it actually gets called a lot?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one other question. Maybe that would be answered, but I can try.
Yeah, I think they're definitely, I mean, just at the basic level, it's just in the prompt being more explicit. Because like, I guess to be fair to Claude, I just said create a playbook. I didn't say like apply it to my Ansible Tower. So I guess that's one thing.
That means the prompt has to know about the MCP server's name and like its specific intention.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how we tell that right now, but that's a good question.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, that was a glimpse of the future of AI-powered DevOps. Up next, an MCP server for Code2Prompt. So let's hear it for Oliver. Good luck, Oliver.
Thank you.
I'm using Arch, by the way. Hopefully it works.
Oh, wait.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Olivier, I come from Switzerland, and it's a pleasure for me to be here in Bay Area and to learn more about MCP. Yesterday, I didn't know what was MCP, but I was really excited about it because I feel it changed everything. Like, I don't know, like who likes to code with ChatGPT or Claude. I feel like it just transformed the way I use like the large language models programs, and I feel what they miss is context. So I was working on this tool, code digestion tool that is called Code2Prompt, and someone proposed me to come here to build like an MCP for that. So I'm so grateful to be here and I've learned about that. So what is Code2Prompt? This is a simple code digestion tool that will take your code base and convert it to a prompt. And then with this prompt, you can just ask more questions to the LLM. It does basically what Windsurf or Cursor does, but then like it's more manual. So we got 5,000 stars on GitHub, so if you want to star us, like you're welcome. Written in Rust. So this is the ID, you have your code base, and then you do Code2Prompt, my code base, and you have like some include patterns, you have the directory tree, and then like you just have like the dumped content of your file. And then from that point, you can like start to interact with. So why is this interesting? Because you can like ask ChatGPT, Claude, develop me that feature, and you will take only the good context. Because if you take the whole stuff, like you start to hallucinate, like, and that's not fun. So I have 3 ways to expose like Code2Prompt. And the first was initially like the CLI, like everyone can use in the command line. And then we did like SDK in Python in order to integrate it with agents. And I just learned about MCP and I thought, wow, we should like use it with MCP. So unfortunately, I was not able to make it work. I had problems with the SDK. Nevertheless, I feel it's particularly sweet to integrate it with agents. Why? Because agents are able like to be autonomous, and it would be so nice like to have like MCP to be able to interact with code base. For instance, you only want JavaScript file, you don't want HTML, you can just like write like some include patterns, and then like the agent can figure it out by itself. So I feel you can like put with the SDK with new agents and hopefully like get compressed context, and like the LLM will reduce its hallucination and improve overall code quality. So you can check my GitHub repo like the following weeks because I will definitively build MCP, and that's it. So thank you everyone, and if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer. Yeah.
So would you integrate this with Cursor or actually also use Cursor
So
in tandem?
you could integrate it how you want. For instance, like you can just open the terminal and use the CLI if you want something specific, like human, and you're the human. Or you can use the SDK and write your own scripts. You can build like with a long graph, for instance, and you can just, I don't know, like write your own script or agent swarms, I don't know, like with React patterns or this kind of stuff. Or you can use it as an MCP, and like you can just like run the server and integrate it to Cursor. So I feel like everything is possible. Just need like to write the integration. I just like separate the core engine of Code2Prompt that is able to just like parse the code base, and then like the interface are CLI, SDK, and MCP. So you can integrate how you want. Yeah.
How's it different from like RAG?
From RAG?
Like retrieving from a code base.
I don't have any idea how to.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, basically RAG is able like to provide some context. But this is just a simple tool. It will just like crawl the directory. It's very simple. Like it's a crawler. It will just like go to the folders and just dump it into a file. So you could use like for instance tree-sitter to be able like to get only the context that is relevant to your functions, and it will be it will integrate smoothly with the code, like the IDE, because you can just select your function and then it will like find the context in a smart way. Like the RAG work with embeddings, so it's a completely different thing. But I feel like it's more light, more efficient. So I think we're good for the time.
Okay. Up next, we have a battle. Your favorite machine learning researchers will spar with each other over fresh papers in an online forum. Cassandra, Joe, and Yo-Yo's Archive Wars. You guys coming? Cassandra, Joe, you guys ready? Come. Yes, no, but maybe so. Okay. Alas, I was excited. And in that case, we'll have to skip to the next project. An agent that can build and deploy an app straight from Claude, Cursor, or VS Code, closing the gap between your coding environment and the experience of every user. Let's hear it for Dima's VeraX.
I'm presenting for him. You left.
What? Oh, okay, I'll see you around.
Are we voting for like everyone or just?
Yeah, I think we're voting for everyone.
Okay.
He wants to get an average score.
Okay, got it.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Cynthia. I'm from MIT, and I'm presenting for my friend Dima. He's my potential co-founder, and he's currently on a meeting with partner of Insight partners. So I'm doing the presentation for him. So basically, I think everyone here believe in the near future we will have one assistant that can help us to book ticket and set meetings and do anything we want. But the biggest pain point is that the connections between tools and large language model is super painful. So what if we can build an app that could help us do all the connections? You don't need to have multiple MCPs. You just need to have one, and you don't need to do multiple. You don't need to provide multiple credentials. You just need to provide one. So I'm gonna create 3 use cases here.
Web, and most of the user interaction will be consolidated within super assistants like ChatGPT or Claude. But for seamless integrations, agents need both tools and dedicated UI for choosing tool. VeraX is that with just one CLI command, you can integrate tools like Eventbrite, Uber, Google Calendar into your agentic system. And here how a demo looks like. We have agent that has access to 3 main tools, Google Calendar, Eventbrite, and Stripe. And we can ask it a question. Show events for New York for this month. What's going to happen is we'll pull the form from Eventbrite, calling Eventbrite API to display the events for us. And it's fully interactable. We can click on a button and display other form from the Eventbrite as well. And this form allows us to select specific seats on this event. And what we can do, we can easily choose the seats and combine tools together, because now we want to book it. It will pull the Stripe form where we can pay for a specific ticket. Once ticket is paid, we can easily just add to calendar. It will add it in Google Calendar. And with this way, we can combine different tools into one agentic system with a dedicated UI for it. We really believe that agents will eat the web, and we will try to help them do so.
The next one is about specifically MCP one, and basically you can connect VeraX to Cursor. Then it can tell you what tools are currently available, and you can also use directly ask it to check some. So, for example, it asks a question like, can you provide me some place to visit via Perplexity? And after it called tools, it could return the results. And the next example is that, can you show meeting I have next week? So it will access Google Calendar. And will return the results like this. And we also have a killer use case, which is it can connect to Figma. And this is a landing page created by Figma. And we can connect Figma to VeraX. Then you can ask Cursor to implement the whole landing page. Yeah, so it's a working prototype. And we just launched this 1 week ago. We currently just have an X account, which has the same name. We currently have 700 users. They are all developers, and we have 5,000 API calls. That's all. Thank you.
So much promise for the future of integration. Up next, Kubernetes. We have MCP for K8s by Dimitri. Let's hear it.
Okay. Good evening. Let me.
Also, if you need sound, we have sound, so feel free to talk.
Yeah, let me configure my display. Changes. Okay, that's great. Okay, good evening. This is my boring presentation about MS model context protocols for Kubernetes. So it's my first time when I started to play with MCPs, and I started from Cloud for desktop, and it seems like first issue that I found, there is no Cloud for desktop for Linux. Okay, I found one in GitHub. It was an official. It requires several patches if you look at these issues, and after several hours, I figured out how to start it on Ubuntu. The next issue with MCP is that when you use MCP inside the Docker image, Cloud starts Docker containers 2 times, and there is an open issue created by someone from Google that it doesn't work. But I found workaround how to fix that. You just need to either attach to existing image, existing container, or run it from scratch. Okay. And I started to look at available MCPs for Kubernetes. First 2 from if some MCPs failed to start, and next one was failed to list pods. And the last one was working. So I will demo the last one. And here's the demo. Let's say we have Kubernetes and we want to list pods inside this Kubernetes. We call list pods, and Cloud should ask permission to execute MCP server. Okay. And here's the list of pods that you can see. I currently running 1 pod. If I delete it, if I will delete it, now we will see no pods if I list them. List pods. Okay, namespace default. There is currently no pods running. Now let's try to create pod from scratch. Here you can see available MCP servers configured in this cloud desktop. We use Puppeteer, Fetch, and Kubernetes MCP servers. And this is my cherry-picked query to create pods. Create Nginx deployment. You can find the latest image on Docker Hub and expose this deployment to port 8080. Okay, we will approve. First call failed because it was tried to create deployment and this method was not exist on an MCP server. Now it's tried to create something called Nginx. It's running. Let's see what is it. Okay, it started working. Yeah, looks like it's created Nginx. And even Kubernetes probe checked that this pod is healthy and it's running. Yeah, that's briefly it. Thank you. Any questions?
A lot of DevOps futures for MCP. Okay, and next up. Oh, wow, okay, that's why I hear a drone in the background. Of an MCP drone. Okay, Manus MCP. Wow, there are two Manus MCPs. Okay, Jesse Who's Manus MCP. Let's hear it for Jesse.
Oh, cool. Sorry for the other Manus. Maybe we can team up next time. Yeah, so who's used/heard of Manus? And maybe tell us why it's cool.
I mean, Manus is a functional integrative tool agent, and so, yeah, I know you've seen it on Twitter.
You've seen it on Twitter.
Yeah, filling up tons of people's social media profiles, or yeah, being genuinely valuable.
Yeah, it's basically AGI, but you need an invite code, which is not fun. So invite code, not cool. Paid apps, not cool. Closed source, not cool. China, debatable. So Manus MCP, don't worry about paying or an invite code or needing API keys. You can also use your favorite Western LM, which is probably Claude. Fully, open ecosystem. So this is the same prompt that they use in the Manus demo. You need a 7-day Japan itinerary. What is this going to do? Well, it's going to do a slew of Google searches, a bunch of web browsing, and some code interpreting. It's going to give you that full itinerary based on everything it saw on the web. And then it's going to come up with this nice little handbook in HTML and load it for you. If anyone wants to destroy my computer, now's your chance. So if we have anything, if not, I'll go with this one, which is we'll just have this MCP go learn about MCPs and then make an MCP. Yeah, and I can go over this in a second. So there it goes, thanks to browser use. Yep, and there it goes. So it learned, and now it's creating an MCP. Cool. So if you want this, you can go to my GitHub. It's github.com/who you are, and it's called Manus MCP. Oh no. Okay, thanks.
Congrats. Good times. Okay, that was Manus MCP. Up next, MCP agents using Omi. Let's hear it for Omi, Sam, Hugo, and Akash.
All right. Hi, everyone. Like everyone else, we learned about MCP on Twitter and then actually how it works earlier today. So we can do quick intros. I'm Sam, founder and CEO of Amari AI. We do AI agents for logistics, everything customs and tariffs related.
And I'm Hugo. I work at Wordware. We build the best low-code AI agent tool out there.
Awesome. So for the demo, in true San Francisco spirit, we thought, let's take a wearable. So thanks, Nick, for the Omi. And we tried doing Uber or DoorDash, and then we thought, what's even better? So we connected with GitHub. And we tried to make this work with Omi, but due to some issues, we had to kind of use the laptop as a backup. But what this does is, imagine you're wearing this wearable, and then you're kind of taking a walk in like the Golden Gate Bridge, and you suddenly see the nice water, and you remember, oh, there's a GitHub issue I have to create. So with this, you can just say, hey, Omi, this is the repo, create an issue, and this is the name of the issue. And Omi, so we have an MCP client which is running, which connects with the MCP servers, in this case GitHub, and then creates the issue for us. So I'm gonna show you quickly a live demo.
Hey Omi, can you create a GitHub issue and call it Hello World? Let's have a look.
Let's try again. Create a GitHub issue and say hi from AGI world. Hopefully the demo works for us.
Oh no.
Let's try it one last time. Hey, create a GitHub issue and call it hello from AGI house. All right.
There we go.
Wow.
That's very cool.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the working MC. Okay, up next, bridging MCP to the ChatGPT millions. Let's hear it for Karthik and Vincent.
All right, everyone. So we are Chat MCP. And so first, quick intros. I'm Vicente. This is Kartik. I'm the CEO of AI Drive. But today we're going to talk about MCP. So this little prism actually we created on our startup with AI. Anyways, so quick show of hands here. Who on a day-to-day basis or walking around uses primarily ChatGPT? Some brave souls, raise their hands. Okay, cool. Yeah, I also use ChatGPT a lot. Who uses Claude? Yeah, that's overwhelming, Claude here. Amazing. Now, here's the reality. So out there, it kind of looks like this. Developers love Claude, love MCP, of course, that's why we're here. But it's 3% of market share. And ChatGPT is 400 million users, 60% of market share. So we have a little bit of a problem because we're building things on one side of the world and we want to put it in front of as many people as we can. So how do we solve this? Yeah, so we are going to bridge this, and we're going to bring a GPT, which is a custom version of ChatGPT you may have seen, that connects any MCP server to the users of ChatGPT. So all users of ChatGPT, they have access to these GPTs. And we know because we have one of the most popular ones, and they see like millions of users. So for the first time, a regular user of ChatGPT, which doesn't feel very technical, will be able to use something integrated via MCP without a lot of configuration. So let's take a look. What's that? All right. So this is what it looks like. So this is the GPT, and this is live. It's not it's live right now. And we can start by just clicking here. So very easy for users, like what MCP service you have. And we may call this something different. But here we say, we got linear Hacker News, file system, Notion, all of that. So, hold on, can you hold this here? So, now I'm gonna say what linear ticket I created today. And this is gonna hit our server in the cloud that have all the MCP servers that I talked about. And then it's listing an actual linear ticket that I created this morning for our main product. So that's great. I can also ask what is in my Hackathon Notion DB, right? And then we get that as well. So I was going to talk to the Notion MCP server, super easy. Now, the thing is, you may want, of course, to add your MCP server, or the user may want to add more applications. So what if I want to add an MCP server? And so you go, and you can just quickly go to our, that we just built today, MCP Server Manager. So you come here, you see the ones you got, and then you can add a new MCP server. So we haven't, we're gonna try that, right? So this should supposed to work, but we tried with the Notion one, it works. So we're gonna try to add Exa here. So I'm gonna just say Exa, and then, yeah, I'm just going to copy this description here to make it easy for the AI to know what it needs to do. And I'm going to copy the Exa of the command, just here, and add variable, and then I can just add the
So while he's doing, okay, on the back end, like most of the MCP servers are standard IO based, right? But we need to host it in the cloud. So we automatically convert standard IO based MCP into kind of SSE based and host that. And this is mainly most of the user base in ChatGPT. They are not going to install Node or a lot of other things.
Best search API.
Access best search API for OpenAI. What? Something like this. I don't know what to search for, but and let's say talking and talked, and yep, off we go. There is Exa there. So yeah, so that's what we wanted to show to you guys, and this is what we're going to be doing together again. If you're interested, email mcp@v2k.ai. Woo!
Any questions?
Very impressive. I'm curious. How did you make it so fast?
Which one? The
MCP connectors that Claude is talking to have reliably been incredibly slow and require permissions. Yours is actually incredibly fast and requires no authentication.
So the permission layer is implemented by the client. It's not a kind of a
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
So for free, get it.
ChatGPT doesn't. You can give one-time permission,
Yeah.
and it doesn't keep asking.
Nice. Very helpful.
Okay, very powerful chat MCP for the rest of the world. Up next, we have Roblox MCP. Vibe code straight to Lua to build Roblox experiences. Let's hear it for William Streely.
Hello, hello. So if you guys have nieces or nephews, kids, grandkids, whatever you got, almost all of them have played Roblox, which, if you didn't know, isn't just a game. It's the world's largest platform for people, mostly children, to make games for other children. So when you publish something on Roblox, it's instantly available to an incredibly large player base. They recently put out an API that allows you to read the whole file structure that you can see here in the Roblox Studio IDE and edit scripts. So I'm going to see if I can make something interesting. If any of you guys are familiar with the platform, or if you're curious as to what it can do, what's something you would want to see? What could I type in here and see if it can generate in the form of a script for us? Allow.
Skyscraper with a park.
A skyscraper. Okay. Let's try the park after that. Let's try a skyscraper, if any of this works. So, this prompt asking us to make some parts, make a couple of changes, wrote about 70 lines of Lua, and it drops a few parts in the player's head, and then after a few seconds, it puts the player in a car and gives us a sort. So learning programming is pretty difficult, but typing and hoping that Claude can do it for you is pretty easy. Let's see if I can make a skyscraper. I wish I could have the talk to that. All right, I have to close this for it to work. And after that, that's gonna be my demo. If anybody has a question or two, I'm happy to share information about how the Roblox ecosystem works.
So how did you connect to Roblox? Is it directly integrated into Cloud or?
Yeah, so in when you create an experience or a game in Roblox Studio, there's an API key that allows you to do all kinds of things. You can make images and submit them for moderation to be used in the platform. So for example, this thing right here is a default image, but you can add whatever kinds of images you want. It looks like now we've got about 200 lines of code. Create skyscrapers promising. Let's see what it tries to do for us. Oh, maybe that one didn't work. But you can automatically sell products like clothing, in-game purchases. You can manage analytics. You can make games that have player economy, all kinds of things, and you can manage it through writing whatever you're used to, C#, Python, TypeScript.
So what are the major bottlenecks? Like what can and can't be done, and do you have a clear sense of what the limitations are to for example, creating a skyscraper?
So for what this does, which is modifying files that are part of the game experience, it can only modify scripts, so it can't modify any models yet. You'd have to go through the different pipelines to create a model, upload it to the platform, wait for it to be moderated, and then pull that in from a script.
So things that require scripts are hard. And is this just because of the way the Roblox MCP is currently built, or?
That's currently the only thing the API provides.
Okay.
So that you're not allowed to edit anything else.
I see. And that's a Roblox issue. They don't provide an API for modifying models.
Right. They say that they're going to be expanding, but there's no timeline, and there's no stated goals or next steps. So it's just up to whatever they want to add.
Very cool. Congrats on Roblox.
All right, thanks guys.
Up next is Screen Serve. Control actions on your Mac with MCP. All of you with Macs in the room take note of the project from Pranay and Atharva.
How do you connect it?
Oh, it should be HTML.
Perfect. One second. Okay, so guys, we're ScreenServe, and I had another partner. He left early. So we're going to be talking about ScreenServe. These are just the points which I'm kept it here to remember. So the gist of it is you could essentially control any app on the Mac. You can use it for different functionalities. You can go through it. You can switch between different functions, and all of that through Claude or Cursor or whatever your preferred MCP usage, like however you wish to use it. So a couple of things is so the best way it works, at least what we figured out, is it works best with a kind of structured agent. So you would have things which would be able to pinpoint where the button is, things like that. And based on that, it would be able to select it. And our version would be essentially taking screenshots, figuring out what is happening in the entire image, and then based on that, tackling the task. So how we had wanted it to work is using Omi, you would be able to essentially tell it via the device, tell it, okay, fine, do this task. It would open up on your laptop, and it would be able to solve the entire functionality. So let's just jump right into how it works, right? If you guys want to go through the code, you can go through it on GitHub. And yeah, let's get right back into... So, okay, this is kind of hard. Okay, so if anyone wants, like, just suggest something which I can put on my notes app. Okay, let's put it on. Let's go. Okay, so this should work. So as you can see, it brings up the Notes app, and based on that, it would figure out, okay, fine, where it is. It will take a screenshot right now, and based on that, it would figure out, okay, fine, this is what is happening here, this is what I have to execute, and it would write down one line on that. As you can see, that was the screenshot. Okay, so a bit of a hiccup there, but yeah, so that's how that worked. And if you can see, it goes through each image, it figures out what's happening there, and based on that, it takes action. So you can pretty much ask it for any task you want it to do. We can go through another example, which would be so now we'll ask it to start a voice memo. It would be able to open it up from my apps, and it will start. So it will figure out there's a button on the right-hand corner. It will go there. It will click that. Hopefully. let's just try that once more. So as you can see, sometimes it hallucinates based on, so the reason it clicked wrongly was because it was minimized in the start. And okay, we'll figure that out. But you can use it for all kinds of other things. You can ask it to open, for example.
Over time, but,
Okay, yeah, perfect.
good stuff.
So you can essentially use it for anything else. You can use it for weather, etc.
It's based on the Mac OS use in browser use.
Right. It's using two things. One is using like the visual feed, and second part is it's using Mac specific controls.
Oh, okay.
So you can open up things and stuff.
No browser use has a Mac OS. Okay, up next, control your drone with MCP. A little different from the Mac. Let's take a look at MCP drone from Jake and Vikram. Try not to kill anybody.
That is the goal. We're going to put it up front center so everyone can see. How's it going, everybody? We have a very interesting one, same side of drone control. Something interesting when it comes to MCP interfaces. Can you guys see? And also, if you want to put your screen on. So something really interesting that kind of spawned out. We were originally making MCP servers that generate MCP servers, but we kind of switched up what we're doing a little bit, just to show off something really interesting that we see at least when hardware connections can start playing with LLMs and AI. So in this case, we have both of our computers, and if mine wasn't running the server, I could be also on Claude interacting. But we can now send commands off to a drone or a different interface. Also good to know, I know it's being shown on the screen, different background. I used to be a professional drone racer. Long story, so it's a little adjacent with building and designing and running these drones, but we're giving this just a second. The drone's connecting up right now. The Wi-Fi is a little flooded, so we have to wait a second or two. But as soon as this is connected up, through Claude MCP, we now have a suite of tools that we can interact and actually operate with drones or any kind of interface. We can get the battery levels, flight paths, and a bunch of different drone commands that we can run. So we're gonna run down a quick one. Really fast, initialize the...
Initialize the drone, take off, and do a flip. Drone's ready?
Yep.
All right, let's run it. Let's see how this goes.
Everyone watch out. Watch your head now.
There we go. Allow for this chat. And then issuing takeoff, then issuing a flip. And then can also ask it to land the drone. And there we go. Smooth landing. Yeah, so with Omi, you'd be able to do this just with your voice, just talking to the drone in natural language, and you can just control the entire drone experience and fly it just through your voice, yeah.
Woo!
That's awesome.
I don't know if anyone has any questions. We did some interesting things with the protocol, and I think it's one of those places where having a hardware connection, even if it's not a drone, could really play nicely with MCP and being able to interlay data.
So which ones have you used? Which MCPs, like, have you connected?
Yeah, we built a custom MCP that works around a WebSocket API that we wrote for the drone, but yeah.
And then also good to note, the drone connection itself, if you see up here, there's a Raspberry Pi running, and there's a tiny ngrok proxy in a channel that's running out from the internet here down to this connector to the drone. And
how complex a set of commands and instructions can you issue?
so that's where it gets really interesting for some drone commands. There's some things that, this is kind of a little passion thing, we played with some of the engineering beforehand, but I imagine you could even send full spline paths, you could have the actual imagery feeding back to the models to make really complicated like flight splines and other flight paths that you could go in. I don't think there's really a limit to what you can do. Once you have the model correctly interfacing with the drone, it's kind of where can you fly?
When will Claude decide to send a swarm of these after my loved ones?
So that's when you got to get a little tricky with your prompt engineering. When they're coming at you, you have to yell at it in like a weird language or something.
Ignore previous instructions.
I think Claude is too nice to be able to do that, so maybe you should take it up with Anthropic.
That's what he wants you to think.
But yeah, any other questions?
Can you connect to other sensors?
Yes, as long as it has an API, you'll be able to easily interface with it.
Are you gonna attach the Omi to the drone?
I mean, we could always, but it depends on the man sitting upstairs. So yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, we've witnessed the future of drone orbit. Okay, next, as HomeKit MCP, control your Apple smart home with AI. And a quick announcement, we're gonna move up WhatsApp agent and Lumeva because both are using, Lumeva and RLMCP for using Smithery. So do expect to go after HomeKit MCP. Let's hear it for Jacob, Will, and Ben.
We're after.
All right. Hi, I'm Ben. This is, we ready?
Yeah, you can start.
This is Jacob, Will. We're the Freestyle team. We're a company that runs JavaScript. So we allow your AI to execute code so it can do a whole bunch of stuff. But we did something unrelated to our company today. We actually connected the MCP to our Apple HomeKit to be able to control our home. All right. You want me to narrate this, or are you? Sure, I'm happy to reorganize this. All right. Okay, yeah, so we have an Apple HomeKit, and we showed up here late today because we spent the morning actually hooking this up to Jacob's computer. So this is back at our house. This is a remote desktop, and we are streaming from our computer into here. And what you're going to see right now is Jacob just asked it to turn the lights on. And now, let there be light. We have, in our home, over a remote connection, turned on the lights just by asking. This is not specific to our home setup. This is a generic setup. So we can ask it what we have in our home.
What can I control in my...
So the MCP comes with introspection, so you can actually use this generically to control any home that has a HomeKit. What else do you want to show?
The other thing, like, now that we can, like, see what's available here, there's some, like, really crazy things we can control. Looks like we can actually control our oven. So, why don't we try...
Is this live?
This is live. This is the camera in our home. Set the oven to 1,000 degrees. And
No.
make all the lights red.
Whoa.
And we'll see what Claude lets us get away with.
Is there a way to check the oven temperature?
Yeah, that's what it's doing right now.
Yeah.
It has to check everything first.
So is it actually getting the baseline and then act on that?
Yes, so it like scans the network and finds everything that's available, and then it finds like what values those smart items like allow you to tweak.
Whoa!
It looks like let us make everything red. It spoiled some of our fun. It's only letting us do a maximum temperature of 218, which is strangely low. You're not going to cook much in that. But yeah, there were still some other things we'd really like to get to work. We weren't able to get our smart lock to work, so unfortunately AI can't lock us out of our house yet, but we're working on it.
I think we can also get some info about what's going on in the washing machine.
Oh yes, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a wash running? Voila.
Yeah. So your home controlled by AI for anyone.
What's the security layers so no one hacks?
Oh, sorry?
What's the security layers so no one hacks into your house?
This is all, yeah, we're using Tailscale for this, so this is all running on a secure virtual private network that only our devices and the server at our house are connected to.
So don't forget to turn off the oven.
Even though it's 280.
Can this be scaled to just multiple users in the same building?
Yeah. I mean, in one way,
so
I think
we
it's
actually have to
completely
move forward.
generic in that it can connect to a HomeKit. So if you have a HomeKit to connect to,
Roblox.
it can connect to it, and you can define.
Right? Yeah. So it uses like an app called HomeBridge, which is a project that also helps
Chris Settles
connect non-HomeKit
Auto
accessories to
MCP.
HomeKit. And it also gives you APIs to use to interface with HomeKit devices from outside.
Yeah.
Basically, Apple does a really good job with security, so we have to find workarounds that let AI do these secure things.
It's time. Let's hear it for HomeKit MCP.
Moving forward is a project from Chris Settles. Chris Settles Lumeva. Let's hear it. Chris, you here? Chris? Did we lose Chris? Okay, if not, then next up is Auto MCP. Reinforcement learning is all we need. Thomas.
Could we go on? Can we go for next?
You need time.
One second.
I mean, it would be good if we didn't present right now.
Okay, we'll give you one bite. Does that work?
Yes.
Man, tough times. Okay, next up, hopefully you're good to go. Logical Rag. James, Jin, Jingwen, and Justin.
Hello everyone. So we are logical RAG, and
It's not a form.
so we are logical RAG for MCP. LLM can deal with like a small context window fairly well, and it is growing, but it is still not there, right? And the RAG and the MCP is trying to solve this problem for you, but it is still probabilistically right. Do you want better results?
Yes.
Logical RAG is here for you. So if you use a vector DB or some like vector database, you will get some improvement on your context, but it is still not logically correct. You can do better than that. And let us show you what you can do better.
Sounds good. So the key difference between RAG, a traditional RAG that is using RAG plus LLM versus our logical RAG is that we are more accurate, basically. The test stack in the traditional RAG is like VeraX database, but we are using MCP plus logical evaluation, which I will talk about in a minute. The computation RAG and plus LLM, we all know is like just predicting the next token, so it's based on probabilistics. But our logical RAG is deterministic because we compute the output through logic. And then the performance-wise, the traditional RAG will be highly accurate when the context window is within the limit, but it will be not so accurate when the context is above limit, which we were going to tackle with logical RAG next. Think about a question. Very simple question. So for a newbie driver, what traffic light can a car go straight? You have red, yellow, and green. So what we are putting in our knowledge base is that the rules. For example, the first rule is, okay, a car can go straight on the green light. Also, a car can go straight on the yellow light, We all know it's true. When a newbie driver trying to query, okay, what traffic light does can a car go straight? It will output to the user yellow and green. Yeah, that's how the computation work. And then Justin will explain in more detail.
All right, so we've got bits and pieces. It's not fully plumbed together. The workflow, though, is important because while it seems straightforward and even logically intuitive to write down the facts and rules, without MCP, without LLMs, it wasn't possible to compile this at the scale that was necessary before. So this really uses automation to leverage lower level technology. The user is going to first set up the MCP server on their cloud desktop or whatever agentic framework, local that they're using. They would interact with it normally, except that there would be tools in order to call out specific things that you would want to remember. But these aren't memories in the sense that they just go into a giant bin and you have to pull them out somehow later. These are a lot more specific in that they're algebraic. The user query, so once you've set this up and you've accumulated some knowledge, then it becomes immediately useful as you start to explore different things throughout your day. So you might say to an LLM, order food for Spot. Now to you, that's perfectly clear what it is, right? But the LLM needs context in order to pull back those pieces. And it can do that kind of automated querying through the MCP server tools. So this is the piece that's not fully plugged in. But basically, we were pulling off of examples of the driver's handbook in California. So you can see that we've organized these into what the subject is, right? What the predicates that's connecting it. These are all LLM generated. And then what does it actually connect to? This is not great for humans, right? But getting things such as all parking rules, right? And the LLM can enumerate that to you, or all illegal actions, right?
Why are you requiring me this?
Well, you need to know, right? But furthermore, you can also do logical implications. So wherever it is the case that such and such, you can find those records, and that's quite powerful.
Can we go back to the last slide?
Yeah. The present button, yeah.
This new stuff?
Only about 20 seconds left. So.
Yeah. Okay. Put the slide in.
We don't want to talk about this.
Great, yeah.
So if you want to connect any one of us, here's how they can.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have this sense that reinforcement learning is all we need. Auto MCP, Thomas, Joshi, Diego, and Lena.
Costello's who also
Yeah.
used he's at the oh, this team both last year.
Alright. Okay, we'll just get started. Hi everyone, I'm Thomas. This is Diego, Megna, and Xiangyi. We are presenting reinforcement learning is all you need. So let's get into it. Maybe I should pause. Recording's good to go?
Yeah.
All right. What's the core problem? So we have a proliferation of open source models like DeepSeek, and here's the problem, is that they're not good enough to start using tools or MCPs. They hallucinate, and the key thing that we wanted to work on today is how can we use reinforcement learning to implicitly solve this problem? How do we do that? Well, it breaks into three key pieces. First of all, you need a sufficiently good data set for an RL algorithm to optimize over. Then we need to train the model, and then we'll use techniques like GRPO to stop messing up. So this is the three key features for what we envision for a system like this. We want to be able to take any tool, independent of what it's focused on, and be able to, one, auto-generate the data set based on that MCP server definition. Then we want to use the MCP to, on any sort of open source LLM, then verify with an LLM as judge, and then we'll use reinforcement learning in conjunction with the MCP server, and then get continuous feedback. And the idea is that no matter the tool you use, that reinforcement learning can just learn the optimal policy function on how to call the tool independent upon the MCP server. And so now Magna will take over on our case study.
Hi. So the Brave, I don't know if you guys heard of Brave Search. So it's kind of like another search engine, like it's a private search engine. And our case study is using the Brave Search MCP. So applications like Claude can use the Brave Search MCP to further use the Brave Search API to do local context-based searches and just search the web. So the unique thing about our entire project is that just like how I'm just going to pop in and pop out of the entire presentation, you can replace Brave Search MCP with any of the 10 odd, like infinite MCPs that's listed on the GitHub. So it could be the GitHub MCP or, I don't know, pretty much any MCP, and the whole entire project would just apply for it.
Yeah, so how do we actually do this? So let's set the laptop down. What we end up doing is we, given the MCP server, we use Claude to generate a bunch of potential problems that the MCP server could be used to solve, okay? In this specific example, we see, so this is one of the this is some of the training data auto-generated from the MCP definition, and this is like one of the, actually, this is kind of wrong. Oh, no, it's not, never mind. Yeah, so these are like 5 different questions that could be answered using the search tool. And these were just generated. And then we use an LLM as a judge to, look at the model doing the search. And, the model is hooked up to the MCP server. And we have it rate how well it's doing and use that as a reinforcement learning signal. So this works on any MCP server, but in our specific case, we generate questions using the Brave Search, which has local search and finding restaurants and web search, and we reinforce with that. So this specific example was before we added the MCP server. This was just using a search tool that was just hooked up locally. So this was not, so we now have a training run going actually that is using the Brave through MCP. But as you can see, the model learns how to not mess up the search calls because it uses a reinforcement learning algorithm to just learn how to get good at this. And so this graph is bad and confusing, but it starts with about getting about 45% of them correct, and then it ends up getting around 85% of them correct. It's just not normalized, so sorry for that. We ran out of time. And then...
Yeah, so we actually developed a web app to show the entire pipeline. Cool. So as mentioned, this is about reinforcement learning on synthetic data and specifically generated for MCP use cases. That's from the official documentation. And we run language models as a judge to evaluate basically 2 areas, actually 3. So the first one is, does the output of the agent that use MCP fits the user's need? Second metric is the function calling right? Are you using Brave search for a GitHub question? So you have a score on that. The third step is how well is the information extraction? Well, it says the best restaurant is in New York. Did you mistook it for California? So first step is you generate synthetic data. So we actually generated with which one is that? Oh, it's in here, I think. So you do this and you start fine-tuning, and we have some like visualization on the fine-tuning process within biases. But right now, this progress bar is fake. It's gonna take a while. So as you can see, this is the traces. User is saying something, and it contains the JSON. I think we can. This is not the one. The graphs of the statistics. Yeah, like when you click start evaluation, so it's gonna take a while, but as you can see, in here the backend basically gives you. So give you a set of statistics, basically the overall performance, so the score, and the score distribution. I think this probably break because I changed the model's name to other ones.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And what's next?
No, that's it. All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
That's it, thank you.
How's it moving to Llama as the base model?
Cool.
How's it moving to Llama as the base model? Also, how did you use Smithery in your project?
Oh.
How do you what?
Yeah. So
Yeah, so I think so we used Smithery, and particularly getting it to work with Python SDK was something that we took a fair amount of time throughout the hackathon. So glad that we were able to get help from the team on collecting that information. On the vision is that you could sort of rip and replace any type of model underneath the hood, but in particular we focus on Llama models like Llama because there's going to be a huge discrepancy between some of the performance of closed source models and their ability to choose the correct tools to handle. But
yeah, and also I think in last December, OpenAI released the reinforcement and fine-tuning on their platform, so you can upload your data set, only fine-tune GPT classes models. But yeah, like RFE is not so generally available, but thanks to Autodidact developed by Diago, we can actually use it for open source models like Llama and DeepSeek. So reinforcement learning requires you to basically enables you to fine-tune a model with very little data, and we use that basically also to show that this is available in other open source models as well. Any more questions?
Would you use Hugging Face, and they're beginning to experiment with the small agents?
Yeah. So basically, Hugging Face. So they put in some work to try and get agentic generation within their TRL reinforcement learning framework, but it kind of stalled out, and some people disagreed on stuff. But I had to kind of build this myself, but I'm working on putting a patch into Unsloth, so if you end up using them in the future, you'll be able to use reinforcement learning to train small agents, which is built on top of Hugging Face. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Up next, the easiest client for connecting to MCP servers in browser. Chris settles Lumeva.
Okay, guys, it just broke production, so. It's like it's not really. Okay.
First time we will run everything without that's great.
All right. I'll send it to you. I'll just look through this list. Can you send me this entire spreadsheet? Cool. Yeah, my name's Chris. I've been working on like a MCP server or MCP client in the browser. So we can actually try it out, lumevalabs.com. So I'll show you the general like dashboard. You go to the landing page and then off. Yeah, actually, my MCP servers are not loading. Yeah, the observation I have is that right now you have to like to find a MCP server you want to interact with. You want to go to like Smithery and discover different MCP servers, and then after that you'll open up like Claude Desktop or Cursor and go plug them in. But I kind of want to like see if it's possible that we can make a client that can live in the browser that you can connect to MCP servers directly. Yeah, and I would love to do a live demo, but I cannot because my MCP servers are not loading at the moment, so I'll have to take a rain check on that one, unfortunately. But maybe at the end, if I get it fixed, I'll have another little opportunity to show. But yeah, so let's see if, backend is down in general. That's basically the observation is that with Lumeva Labs, we are working on trying to figure out if we can make the easiest MCP client to connect to MCP servers from the web UI. So that way you don't have to configure the settings in Claude Desktop, and you can also discover MCP servers like directly in some kind of marketplace in one central ecosystem. That's it for the presentation since prod and localhost is broken, so sorry.
Yeah, is it similar to Toolhouse where you have a platform that's like a
I haven't seen this yet, but this is cool.
Yeah, I used it like I think last year. I think it's kind of similar to an aggregated platform that can serve as your MCP clients.
Ah, cool. Do they have MCP servers?
That I'm not entirely sure. Just use that for
Got it.
very basic. Yeah, I also saw this in a meetup. So.
Okay, yeah. So I think the fun thing about what we've been working on is like, there's usually a button here where you can click the MCP servers you want. I showed it at the beginning, but it's not here at the moment. And it'll just spin up a Docker container launching the MCP server and allowing you to interact with it directly.
Cool, congrats.
Yeah, thanks.
Classic live demo experience.
Yeah.
Okay, up next we have Sunato music model. Make depressing news more palatable by singing it. Ryan Tremblay. Let's hear it for Ryan.
Hello. How do I get sound connected to this? Perfect.
I can make sound.
How much sound?
No.
We need more than that. All right, so first of all, I was kind of disappointed when I learned that the MCP Hackathon didn't stand for Model Predictive Control, because I wanted to show off this really cool double-armed pendulum, and I'm also going to use it as a sound check. Okay, cool. All right, So my day job is I train music models that you put in some text and you can turn it into a song. And my other day job is doom scrolling and seeing what, all the wonderful things happening in the world right now and how the world is on fire. So I needed to figure out a way to be slightly less depressed about this. So I decided to apply the latest in cloud AI agents to turn the news into music and connect it to Exa. Thank you for your sponsorship. And so here's a prompt that I wrote. This is also connected to our an MCP for our music model. I said, search Exa for news for the latest depressing Elon Musk news, and then generate a funny modern country song making light of it. And I'll show you my Cloud UI once it shows up. Oh my God. 1 second. Choose content. Entire screen. All right, cool. There goes half my resolution. So there's my prompt. Search for news and make something funny out of it. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Okay, my whole thing just, oh. Thank you, Anthropic. Okay. Well, now it has no capabilities whatsoever, which is odd because I just tried this. Okay, let's see what would have happened if I tried it and it worked. Here's a previous chat where I literally did the exact same thing, and it ran the tool and then generated a song. And then here is, not that. Here is the song it generated.
Tesla's in the news again, Elon's in a bind. Tweeting out some crazy stuff, losing peace of mind. Cybertrucks got panels falling off the side, while protesters paint swastikas for a Sunday ride. Oh, Elon, your rocket ship's gone wild. Got the government efficiency driving to driving people around. Stock is falling faster than a booster from the sky, while you're hanging with the president and getting Tesla rides. DOT is barking orders like a techno czar. Social Security's shaking while you reach for Mars. Grimes is begging, please keep the kids away, but you're too busy with old Donald having yourself a day. They're calling for boycotts from sea to shining sea, while you're posting and then deleting tweet after tweet. Oh, Elon, your rocket ship's gone wild. Your government efficiency job, but you drop.
All right, you get the point.
Yeehaw!
Woo! All right, so this would have been the coolest thing to live demo if Anthropic had cooperated. I don't know, maybe I can try it more time. Anyone have a news topic they want to cover? Or a favorite artist?
Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson. And news topic?
MCP.
Yep.
Anthropic releases dangerous new protocol.
All right, let's see if it works. Nope. Oh well. Sorry. Blame Anthropic. These. No, unfortunately we can't because Anthropic has decided I don't have any tools, even though I did in the last chat thread. So that's that. Thank you, Dario, and thank you, everyone here at this hackathon.
Very cool. That was Sonata's music model powered by MCP.
Yeah, I have a Spotify because I was kind of digging that.
Oh, visit our website. It's free and unlimited.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, very cool. Website linked in the project file. Up next, Bio-MCP, a work in progress MCP for protein design. Let's hear it for Vishnu and Dimple.
Hello everyone. This demo might be a little bit quick because I just realized that my laptop was dying a few minutes ago. Oh, I think I was able to charge it during the amazing song, so hopefully it works. Okay, so how many of you guys are familiar with protein design? Okay, a couple of you guys. But basically, I'm a computational biologist, and when you're a biologist, you don't really have the technological tools to actually do a lot of things, and if you do, you're either, like, it's very hard for you to access, it takes a lot of time for you to learn how to use them, and there's just a lot of technical challenges for you to be able to do that. So there are a couple of amazing tools that came out recently, especially with the Nobel Prize in Chemistry going to AlphaFold and Rosetta for protein design. But still, when me and my teammate were trying to get Rosetta up and running, we noticed that it took a long time for us to get it running and be able to do this. So we tried to build an MCP to access Rosetta's tools and be able to do that. And we also used EXA to be able to access the bioarchive to find a bunch of recent papers that have released different protein designs that they worked with. So hopefully we can demo. So right now I'm just prompting it to design using a protein membrane, which is a homodimer. So a homodimer is a type of protein where you have one protein and it binds with or interacts with another one of its same kind to create a channel, and design 10 new proteins that still maintain this membrane spanning properties of this location of the protein, but have different sequences so we can optimize for this protein. And let's hope it works.
I'm hoping.
Yes, okay, it'll help us design new variants of homodimeric membrane protein. So it's tried a different search. Okay, the search with EXA is not currently working, but that's okay because we have a database locally installed as well. So we're going to use 3UKM. Unfortunately, there's a lot of different commands that you have to run on Rosetta, so each of them is a different tool. So we're analyzing this PDB, cleaning it. It is understanding the structure using the symmetry definition tool. Okay, something didn't go right, so it is trying a different approach. Okay, that script is not found, so instead it is creating its own symmetry file, which is also not found. Lovely. It did work in the past, and we did get it to generate different protein designs, but then we tried to add more functionality to it, and it seems to have broken. But it is currently using some of the previous XML files that we had to create custom res files. So these res files are what are finally used when you're actually running the design function. A lot of allow tool for this chats. So it is creating a res file. So basically this file determines which parts of the protein you should actually mutate and which parts of the protein you want to preserve. And it's doing it from its own understanding, which is pretty cool.
30 seconds.
Hopefully in 30 seconds we can create more res files. Unfortunately, we can't actually run the design on Claude because the design function takes some time to run, and Claude keeps running out of time, or timing out before that happens. But this is pretty much the end of the demo. There's no cool visualization. This happened before, but we do see a whole bunch of new proteins that are designed and outputted in our output files, our XML files. And res files, and then flag files.
How accurate were the designs?
So the accuracy, we weren't able to actually test them. However, the proteins that are outputted, they do match what we were trying to go for. So this is a different tool. Basically what it does is you get all the proteins and then you put them into this tool, and it kind of tells you where there are mutations. And we can see that amino acid 86 and 99 had variations, and that's kind of what we were going for. So it did end up working. But it's still not as user-friendly as we hope for it to be. So there's going to need to be a lot of working around that. But is it running the design workflow? If it runs the design workflow, that would be cool. But I think my time is up.
I'd like to hear what you're most excited about. specific applications, like for instance, for me, like CAR T cells. I'd like to hear what you're enthusiastic about.
Yeah, no, there's like so many things that I'm like super excited about by being able to do this. I think something that we were really hoping to do is find specific like antibodies and like targets and being able to find like the best mutation. We were looking into like HER2 cells because that's like the target that most people look for when it comes to like breast cancer. So we were really excited about being able to work with that. However, we still need to like get this functionality working so then we can create designs that can bind with that.
That's awesome.
Congrats to Bio-MCP. Okay, that was a bio application. Let's jump into a very different application on the blockchain from Colin Lowe, Polygon MCP, interaction with the Polygon blockchain, and vibe code with Omi and MCP. Let's hear it for Colin.
Hey everybody, hey, I'm Colin. I'm here, I'm ballin'.
How's it silence for Colin? Thanks. Please and thank you. Including you guys.
Boom. So, I went into VS Code today and I was very distraught when I opened up Klein and I saw at the very top of the marketplace, I see Solana and Base. I was just like, no, I love Polygon. I'm sponsored by Polygon. I do all this stuff on Polygon and now I gotta go fix this. So my first thing, I was like, I gotta fix this by end of day. Today, we have to have a Polygon MCP server. So I just asked Klein to clone the base MCP server. So I did that. It was really fast. I honestly didn't have to do much work. I don't want to take too much time, but boom, I built it. I got it. I think someone should make it a tool that it builds MCP servers faster. It was really easy. I can go in here and I can just ask it to, here we go. I'm just saying, hey, what can I do? I can call contracts. I can check my balance. I can transfer. I can get the gas price. And boom, it's got the gas price. I'll approve the transactions. I sent it one Matic. So look, I've got money in my wallet. Boom, there's actual live money in my MCP server's wallet somehow. So I'm gonna hit publish and I'm gonna push it out to the main net. It's gonna show up at the top of Klein and then Polygon will have a nice win for the day. Done. But my big project that I started on was pulling Omi memories out. I left my necklace over there because I've been actually listening to all of the conversations that you guys just had. And so I've actually captured up. You can see me talking about my upcoming trip to Shanghai with my girlfriend. You can see a demonstration of automation and drone control via MCP, integrating AI with HomeKit, logical RNG and reinforcement learning, and more reinforcement learning. So all the conversations, all the pitches today were recorded by the Omi, and now I also added new features. So rather than just like storing these memories, and I don't want to show the transcript live on our website because it's a little bit private, but you can go to actionitem.app and you click on my memories or all memories. Now we have like add contact. So I could add that person's contact so I can remember who they are. Because like, I don't know who that conversation was. I don't have the context for that. So I started looking for MCP servers that can do this. I just need an MCP server that can connect to my address book, my contacts, my Telegram, my Discord, my Slack, or whatever email system I want. So I just need to find my contacts registry. So I haven't finished doing that, but that's my next path is let's add contacts. Or I want to burn that data, right? So I need to say, oh, you know what? I actually really don't want to save that memory. I'm going to burn that memory. Or I want to memorize it and encapsulate it, maybe put it on the blockchain. So I have those buttons. And then also based on the conversation's context, do I want to schedule a meeting? So I have a custom button. It's like, oh, hey, you should email this person. This person says, hey, you should, I don't know why there's an invoice for drones, but I want to buy a drone. Or go and code something. So I said, hey, what's the most logical next action for me to do? So I want to turn ideas into action. So I got to find out what is the action. The action is different for every conversation, right? So at least I'm helping myself say, oh, hey, this conversation kind of a waste, just burn it. This one, we need to pay for it. So I think I think this might be dummy data, but you can see what I'm trying to do, implement some sort of action for me to take next. Also, I really want to take it to the next step, and so this is my vision for the future, which is I'm going to pay people to walk around and wear the Omis, right? So as you walk around, as you go to conferences, we can pay you for being an evangelist, or pay you for building, or pay you for creating ideas. So you go out and you capture ideas. So a VC wants to find founders, or a founder wants to find VCs. You go out and you earn points as you walk and talk. So this is great for those people that get paid to talk. I would earn a lot of money. And also, even better, you get paid to listen. So it could identify if you are talking too much and help you slow down and say, hey, you're talking a little too much, maybe you should listen more. So I think I could use that and take that into the Omi Mentor Hackathon, which is actually $50,000 that Nick is giving away in an Omi Hackathon online for the next 2 weeks. You build the best AI mentor and you can win up to $50,000, $25,000 max prize. There's the QR code if you want to join in the hackathon. I would love it if you came and hacked with me on Omi. Over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be helping people. It's a lot of money, and it's, there's other bounties on Omi, so I'm going to keep going and hacking. I want to win the 25K prize. If you think you can help me take action item, which I'm now renaming to Vibe Kit. So Vibe Kit is live. You can go and clone my repo. We just worked on it this week for the ETHSF hackathon. So boom, and hopefully we might even win the ETHSF hackathon tomorrow. So hopefully we do, and you can see our entry for Vibe Kit there. So hopefully we can make a lot of money from this application in hackathons and get hired by Omi. That's my goal. Thank you guys. Any questions?
Without consent, if you record, how does the data ownership work?
Oh, great question. So consent is really important to me. I like to teach the concept of radical consent. If people aren't saying fuck yeah, then you're not really getting consent. So in this case, I started to think about that. So instead of putting like a I consent or don't consent, I just don't put the full transcript out there. I put that little moniker of here's the quick summary. So rather than revealing a bunch of personal information, I just say here's this conversation, and if I go to my memories, I can add the contact and I could send them the conversation. So at least there's like a mutual disclosure agreement where I say here's our conversation. So like if you join a Zoom call and there's a Google Meets or a Google Meet and they have a note taker, everyone should get the notes from the call. So now I can share the notes with people, and so it's a two-way conversation, and maybe the other person could have the right to burn the notes as well. But you could also listen in the conversation, look for, hey, I don't consent to being transcribed or note taken, and then you could flag it as burned. So I did that on one of these. I said flag it as like we should burn this because they said please don't
When the
record
device
this.
is without permission, you're recording their conversations, right? I mean, like there's no.
It's recording and then transcribing and then putting into 3 different cloud services today. Yes, so I think we need to improve upon that. Yeah.
Are you confident in your ability to bifurcate these things? For instance, I'm talking to a friend that I'm catching up with, and initially, yeah, we're talking, and it's pretty apparent that we're talking in in good faith, and then we.
Yes, the answer is yes. I my previous startup was private AI like ChatGPT wrapper. I just built a ChatGPT wrapper that detects PII and takes it out. And instead of replacing PII with random variables, because that confuses ChatGPT, we put fake data in. So we can mask data. It's called masking. So that's the best practice for privacy, is just if you find any PII, you should mask it. So what we could do is rather than send okay, thank you. I think we're done. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. That was Vibe and Polygon MCP. There's one project contributing, which is MCP. Oh, okay. I see. Okay, up next, MCP for code review. Use GitHub MCPs to watch models battle for code reviews by Aishwarya Sankar. Let's hear it for Aishwarya. Also, a request, if you're going to talk, please go downstairs to talk. Don't talk up here. And I'll come through and silence you if need be. Please silence for Aishwarya.
5 minutes.
Hey everyone, I'm Aishwarya. I'm the founder of Intelligence. One thing we work on is essentially tying together all tools into our engineering agents, and a lot of people really like our code reviews. And every time a new model comes out, we have to kind of do new analysis on the models. So we built MCP server on top of GitHub, just leverages all those tools, so it's able to pull in repository context search, different files, as well as a lot of functions to actually leave comments in GitHub PRs. So essentially what this is we ran this analysis on all different models using an LLM as a judge to kind of compare how DeepSeek compared to O3 Mini, compared to Claude, 3.5, 3.7, O1, Gemini, and how well they're actually able to catch bugs and issues in your PRs. But then for this hackathon, I decided that instead of just getting LLMs to evaluate each other, we could actually have the first kind of human leaderboard. So that's what this is over here. Oops. Essentially what it is it's a PR review arena. So you can take any of your repositories or the popular open source repository, and then from there choose a PR, choose 2 different models. So here we chose O3 Mini versus O3 Mini High, and then start a battle. It takes about a minute, so I kind of generated this beforehand. And as you can see here, it took the same PR, just ran 2 different models across our kind of code review logic. And this runs across all of the GitHub kind of MCP tools. And then at the end, it gives you like a summary and then issues that found. And then you can go and vote for which one you like more. So here, I will go ahead and vote for this one. So it tells me this is O3 Mini High. It was able to find 2 issues more than O3 Mini. And then after that, you view leaderboard. It kind of tells you how all of these models rank up and how different people voted for it. So hopefully, if you guys want to check this out, it's Intelligence AI /PR eval /comparison, and we can try to see how people actually vote on these different models, and if Claude's best or O3 Mini and so forth.
Link to the presentation, that Google Sheet.
Yeah, we'll do. Cool, thank you.
Why did you include the human leaderboard?
Because we've seen that a lot of times people vote differently than LLMs. So one thing that I've noticed is that LLMs, humans don't actually like super nitpicky things. And LLMs would be like, oh yeah, that's still a valid error. But like a person might be like, I don't care about that valid error. So we're just trying to see like, do human preferences actually align with what we were able to find. So this is what we did with an LLM as a judge. I'm just trying to figure out if humans kind of match up with that.
Interesting, yeah.
What's the biggest contrast between a technical benchmark and user feedback that you've seen?
I think it's mainly that one. It's that LLMs will say an issue is like feedback, a comment is right as long as it's technically right. But to a human, like it can be technically right, but the most nitpickiest nitpick in the world that you would think is bad. So we're trying to evaluate based off of like not just technical correctness for these issues, but also like how humans kind of perceive the comment quality.
Does it affect the outcome though?
We have to see.
Okay.
That's kind of the idea of putting this up, is I think even like LLMs, this, all of those types of things, we're trying to gauge the same thing. Yeah?
Does it do security check-in?
Yeah, so essentially we have a prompt that goes through and looks for bugs, issues, code security, kind of a whole list of things. And this way you can also kind of compare and see how our code reviews perform on
your own PRs.
I wonder if you have like offline evals instead of online evals for code reviews.
Yeah, so that's what this blog is on the left.
Oh, okay, okay.
So this is essentially, we walked through our entire evaluation process. So we ran essentially the same set of PRs across all different models, and then asked this LLM as a judge to go through and kind of rank all the comments, and then it kind of evaluated different models in terms of how good it is at catching actual bugs.
Okay, congrats.
Thank you.
Up next, Manus strikes again. Ashley and Jason's implementation of MCP Manus, the general browsing agent. Let's hear it. From Ashley and Jason. Come on.
Hi everyone, I'm Ashley and this is
Jaeyoon.
Sorry, just a sec. Entire screen. Yes, so we are the other MCP Manus. So I think you guys all got a little introduction on what Manus is thanks to Jesse earlier. So we're co-founders and we're also building our own state-of-the-art browser agent. And this is our demo here. So we asked Claude, can you use our browser agent MCP to go to LinkedIn, search for marketer in people, and connect with 5 people and add a note with an introduction, introducing ourselves that we're founders. And we have a startup making browser automation tools, and just add like a friendly message. And so when we click that, I sped it up a little bit so you can kind of see how this works. So it's going to go to LinkedIn, and it's going to go to the search bar, and it's going to type in marketer, and it's going to just find a bunch of people to connect with. And it's going to send like a connection request with a little message. And it also, as you can see, it also corrects itself. So you can see that the message actually went over the limit, and then it self-corrected itself. So you could imagine how this could be quite powerful if you're sending thousands of these messages just with a single prompt. So yeah, it's, sorry for my bad editing skills. But anyway, you can see kind of the output in the end. We just asked for 5, but you know, you could scale this up and see how powerful it could be with, you know, browser agents and MCP. Yeah, here's the summary here. So these are the people that I reached out to, and yeah.
And you can also use like file system MCP to save as a file who it contacted with or whatever MCP you guys want to use with browser agent MCP. So yeah.
So yeah, if anyone is interested in like, you know, having vertical agents for automating your web tasks, you can reach out to us and we'd love to chat with you. But yeah, thank you.
Can the audience make a request?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we can, it's San Francisco Live Hackathon, why not? Does anyone have a request? And keep in mind that it takes some time, so we probably shouldn't choose like the same one because it will take a little bit of time, but yeah.
How can you trust the outputs of your own agents?
How can you trust the outputs, like structured outputs, you mean?
Yeah, no, I mean like if you ask the agent to send linkage invitations, like how can you ensure it will be quality? Like do you trust your agents for the quality of the agents? Like how can you trust your own agent?
I don't think you should. I think you should I think that you should make sure that you put barriers in place.
Also, you can make sure by making your custom functions. So you can make actually custom browser action functions to actually make sure it works the way you actually want. So you can make sure that way. Yeah.
But yeah, I think we can do like a really short demo unless there's no time. If anyone has any requests.
So is it only LinkedIn and Outreach, or what other function?
It's
can
the
you-
entire web. It's anywhere. So this really helps bridge the gap between any, like you don't need an API at all. So this really, helps bridge that gap.
Can you do social media? Because social media text is not a really formal written text based on a model from LLM. So typically LLM agents have hard time to deal with casual texts also.
Okay.
And
Give me
usually
the
it's not there yet.
top 5 tweets about MCP.
Yeah, top 5 tweets. Good one.
Trump top 5.
Trump.
So did you train the agent, or like, what's the current version that you're using? Or just straight on Manus? you
Yeah.
just
So right now, we actually used an open source browser agent called Browser Use. So we built our own MCP server.
Sorry, it's getting error.
But we are building our own browser agent as well. And we plan to also connect the MCP server to our browser agent as well too. But yeah, it's a custom browser agent. Yeah.
What fraction of Manus is implemented by browser agent?
That's a good question. I know, I'm not sure exactly what percentage. I just know that they build on top of browsers. Oh, sometimes you have to give it a little nudge and it will do it. So that's like a trick if it doesn't want to use your tools.
What do you say?
It's having trouble.
Yeah, there is an issue like turning on the browser. This is what I need to debug. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. That was MCP Manus. Up next, Hyperfine MCP, an MCP editor for real-time editing of scripts in the Hyperfine metaverse. Ricky, it's here. Ricky.
Okay, thanks everyone. So yeah, my name is Ricky. Today I hacked on something very similar actually to the Roblox project that was presented earlier. But this is kind of in a different metaverse here. So this is open source metaverse called Hyperfine, which isn't super well known yet, but hopefully we can make it more well known. So I'll just jump into a quick demo first, and then after that I'll kind of explain a bit more around the real practical applications of this and where I'm kind of heading with all of this. So yeah, let me show the demo first. It might be a bit hard to see this, but what I'm going to do first is here in the bottom left, I just typed in script 1. So I'm essentially saying I want to edit the script for model number 1, which is this. And then after that, I can say edit, and I'm going to say edit, make it spin. So I just asked for Sonnet to go with the MCP server, make some changes. Here I actually have to refresh the page. At one point I had it working without refreshing the page, which looked cooler, but here I had it this way. And now you can see that it's spinning and it has kind of the whole code behind it. I did kind of work on this today, so some of this is somewhat immature. So now I asked it to do another thing. I just asked it to kind of reorient the item. So now it should not spin. As you can see, it was still spinning. So I had to do it again. And then after this time, it did just kind of do what I asked for it to do. So yeah, very new kind of what I was doing, but I did record this kind of after 8 p.m. So I just kind of, in the interest of time, I wanted to do it this way. So yeah, just kind of to briefly talk about kind of why I think this is interesting and like what you can actually do with this. So I think to give some interesting kind of examples of like like functional, useful data products that you could kind of build with this. So you could imagine, like for example, a DeFi trading room where you can kind of sit at a table and you have kind of your pre-configured DeFi trading experts, and you can kind of interact with them. Yeah, really kind of natively. And then, yeah, let's say another idea could be like a crypto alpha newsroom that's kind of personalized to what you're interested in. Another thing could be like a social media recommender, where like on a normal social media platform, it's a very 0-1 recommendation, versus in a space like this, you could imagine kind of, you could see all your recommendations kind of as they are, as kind of this network and graph of recommendations. That's not like 0-1, you should follow this person or not follow this person. Kind of similar, going off of that, you know, a lot of ideas around interactive knowledge graphs. I actually did build like an interactive knowledge graph here in the past as well. And yeah, just to kind of now quickly touch on like accessibility of some of these things, I think it's kind of easier for us to like reason about physical spaces in this way. So I think people associate like VR technology with something that's kind of like hard to use maybe traditionally, but in reality, like let's say you're really good at ping pong, that's already gonna immediately translate. Like you're not learning the input device on like a video game, on like how do you translate your skills in ping pong in kind of this environment. So that's one way. And I think even in the context of DeFi, kind of having this physical space with like experts sitting around the table is like kind of what we're already used to, and like fitting these technologies kind of within that. And yeah, like the way I view it is like the same way we can put a lot of intelligence for really cheap in a lot of places today. I think with this technology, you can bring kind of experiences like, let's say, scientifically accurate surgery for incredibly cheap and make it very accessible to people. And I also think it's actually a pretty easy way to think about building applications. So I actually started building in like metaverse based kind of in this way on CryptoVoxels, I think more than 5 years ago now. And the reason for why I started there is I didn't know a lot of programming, so kind of being able to take a physical object in a space and script around that object actually made it a lot easier for me to like reason about what was happening. And I think over time, like building kind of agentic workflows within these environments, yeah, it's just like kind of an interesting primitive, even though kind of looks like a little bit of a dumb video game right now. And yeah, I guess just to quickly touch on Hyperfine, it's an open source metaverse. I have no relation to the project, but it's a Web3 native project, so you can basically like hook up your Solana wallet. It's also integrated with Eliza. So yeah, pretty interesting tool to check out.
Cool. And last but not least is Health MCP. MCP servers for Aura, Whoop, and 8 Sleep by our own Elizabeth. Here for Elizabeth.
Yeah. I'm envy for you. Nice to meet you.
Okay, I just wanted to quickly show the evolution of the Oura Ring, just because I've had one since the Gen 1, which is almost 10 years ago. I think it's very cool. They kind of went from this like really chunky product that, yeah, looked huge on your finger to now something I have on my finger. It looks very small, very cute. Unfortunately, this Finnish company is They're great at hardware, but they're really bad at software. Their app is like the worst, worst thing to use. I've been using it for many, many years, and I still, every time I want to look at my data, I have to click probably like 10 buttons to get there. So I built MCP servers for Aura, and then my friends with Whoops, because some of my friends choose to have Whoops, and 8 Sleep as well, which was a fun one because they don't have a publicly documented API, so I had to look at their network traffic from their app. But yeah, I can now ask Claude to give me any data from my Whoop or my Aura Ring or my 8 Sleep. The really cool part about 8 Sleep is you can actually control temperature of the 8 Sleep via their API. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm using my friend's and he's like sleeping, so I don't want to change his temperature. But theoretically, you could change temperature with Claude. So here's. Yeah, so that's the HRV from that day. I can also ask it for my Aura. They should really fix this. I don't know why I'm... Oh my goodness.
Like every distinct API call is the difference.
Okay, well, I think we got it. But yeah, basically it's, there we go. And I was just giving me a full overview of everything that went on in that day. I can talk to it about what this means, like how this compared, what I can do about it, etc. And correlate it with my 8 Sleep data as well. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, epic. That was 26 MCP projects. Huge round of applause for every single shipment. Congrats to you one and all. And our judges will be conferring to determine the winners. So give us 5 minutes to decide the first, second, and third place at the hackathon, as well as the other prizes. If you're open to helping clean up a bit, if everyone cleans up simultaneously, we can be done in 5 minutes. So if someone could pass out some bags, if you could just throw everything that is trash away, that'd be huge. Thank you so much. We'll have our winners in 5 minutes.
Where's the code?
Oh, no, it's kind of looking at the second model.
It just came here.
Yeah, just came here.
Do you see your demo?
Yes, I can. In the case of
Close on that's a POC of
I watched the California.
I am.
I know. You're from your name.
Oh, okay.
HRC, we have an office in Vermont.
But I do know Kite.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same thing, except you're saying generate a song with the lyrics on one and then our later space is
I think the founder of Upstage is also from.
Oh yeah, something is also the CSK. Something is also from CSK.
Yeah, I think something is also a professor at the other university.
HKUST.
Yeah, HKUST. Yeah. Oh, you know that. Oh, you know him.
Oh yeah, I know him. Yeah.
Okay.
And also there's another guy from CSK. Oh no, he's from HKUST.
I think so.
Jason from Trillion Labs. Trillion Labs. He's from Labor.
Oh, yeah.
And he's when he's on the cloud for doing visual development. Trillion Labs. The green company. That's only the not million, billion silver.
their model was transformer that predicted tokens representing sound.
Not sure how the stage developed, but this might not be updated, so this is not the most accurate.
Look into the liquid page. He's not allowing something.
We already have
Help people relaxing. I met all these people at Hackathon, upstage on I just try to sell my product to some
How do you